guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Before I start on the topic of today's video, please hit the like and subscribe button as a personal favor to me. God knows I need the positive reinforcement, because if you don't, it'll shatter my sense of self-worth and existence on this planet. So like and subscribe. Do it. Do it now. Alright, so with that out of the way, I wanted to talk about the topic of a Harley Davidson Sportster, or Iron 83, as a good beginner bike. When I was researching this bike on YouTube, like you are right now, I ran into a lot of videos as to why the Sportster is a good beginner-friendly bike. Most of them were made from people who own the Sportster, so obviously they're going to be a little biased. To be honest, I'm biased as well because I own an Iron 83, but I didn't immediately start out on one. In this video, I want to play devil's advocate a little bit and present a counter-argument as to why the Sportster is not a good beginner bike. This video clip is of me and a few of my riding buddies going on a short trip through the backwoods of Maryland. So hope you enjoy this video. Alright, so here we go. Reason number 1, the size and weight. Now, there's a reason why when you start your safety course through your local DMV, they start you out on smaller bikes. They're just easier to maneuver, and if you drop the bike, you can most likely pick it up without any difficulties. Now, when you're looking at the total line of Harley Davidson bikes, it's true that the Sportster is their entry-level model. So if you're dead set on getting a Harley as your first bike, then this whole video is useless to you. Stop now. Just kidding. You can keep going. However, if you're more open-minded about a starter bike, there are, in my opinion, better bikes to start out on that'll help you develop your fundamentals before you upgrade to a bigger bike. So for example, the Honda Rebel model, for example, is a mere 408 pounds, while the Sportster comes in at a 579 pound wet. If you're looking at over 30% increase in weight alone, which can add to the intimidation factor when you're just getting started. I remember when I started out, I was more concerned about safely operating the bike without any other added noise or distraction, so size and weight really mattered. Alright, reason number 2. The Iron 83 brand new goes for around $9,000, probably a little bit more out the door. If money is no object to you, fine, be my guest. Start out on the Sportster. But for most of us, finances play a big part in our everyday lives. For that reason, there are several other bikes that's more friendlier on your wallet. Another factor to remember is that Harleys are insanely addictive to an upgrade, and that's especially true for the Sportster. When I bought this bike, I knew that I would most likely spend an additional 20 to 30% more in just aftermarket parts alone, like exhaust, intake, LED lights, just for starters. Also, when I bought my first bike, I knew that I might potentially damage the bike or would most likely look to upgrade the bike at some point in the short term. So I wanted something that I could buy and resell without losing too much money in the process. We call these beginner bikes for a reason, because they are beginner bikes and you're most likely going to have a second or third. So you want to keep the cost factors in mind when you're purchasing your first bike, with the intent that you're going to upgrade to a bigger bike at some point down the line. So you want to try to conserve as much money as possible during this process. The third and final point is the subject of speed. Now, if you do any research into Sportsters, you'll inevitably run into the topic of speed. There's no other way around it. The Iron 83 is just not very fast stock. The stock engine makes 49 horsepower at 59 pounds of torque. Now those numbers might not mean anything to you by itself, but the bike I started out, which is a Kawasaki Z650, had 67 horsepower and 48 pounds of torque, and it was much lighter than the Iron 83. I say this because inevitably, after you learn how to ride the bike, you're most likely going to want more power. And if you've already sunk a cool $9,000 into the Iron 83, it's hard to justify trading in the bike. So those are the three main reasons why I believe that the Sportster is not a great first bike. Now, with all that being said, I love my Sportster. I love the looks and the availability of the aftermarket parts to be able to customize it to any way you want. It's a great blank canvas. But would it be my first bike? No. For me personally, it took me a lot of time to figure out what I like and what I don't like about bikes. Some would say that's part of the natural journey of it all. But if you're dead set on getting an Iron 83 as your first bike, I can't stop you. It's a great bike, just not a great first bike, if you ask me. Thanks for tuning into the video, and again, please like and subscribe. That'll help me out a lot as I get started on this channel. Hopefully we'll put out more content like this in the future. Alright, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.